here's the thing, this right here, this is the most valuable asset class there is. What am I pointing at? I'm pointing at land. Now, why am I, even in 2023, I'm saying it's the most valuable asset in real estate there is, right? Or class of real estate. Why is that? Well, think about this. If you've been around for any length of time or you watch any type of news, you know that our country has a major crisis right now when it comes to housing. There is absolutely no questions asked, there is a housing shortage. Well, guess what? Fix and flips, like fix and flipping houses or apartment complexes or wholesaling houses or all these different real estate models you hear out there, or maybe apartment syndicating, right? A lot of people are out there syndicating existing apartment complexes. Guess what all of those real estate models don't accomplish? They don't accomplish making a difference or making a dent in the housing shortage. What makes a dent in the housing shortage? Well, think about that. It's new development, right? And where does new development start? New development starts with the dirt, okay? It starts with the land. So this model I'm gonna get into right now with you is multiple times over and over again, we've been able to make 7 figures on one single deal repeatedly without all the crazy risk and the crazy capital that you hear about related to land, right? Or related to land development. And I think one of the best parts about this model that I'm about to get into is you don't have to have a bunch of fixed overhead. You don't have to have a bunch of employees and a big office and blah, 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 blah. You can do it literally as a one-man or one-woman show if you choose to, okay? You literally just need a laptop, a Wi-Fi connection, and I should say a cell phone as well. But with technology today, we've built our model around the idea of leveraging the efficiencies of technology. So why is my business model, I talk about my business model a lot, how it's much more scalable, okay? Versus say, house flipping or house wholesaling or apartment syndicating. I'm just mentioning some real estate business models that you hear about all the time. I swear there's a house wholesaler or an apartment syndicator or a house fix and flipper or an Airbnb guy or whatever. I swear there's one of those on every street corner throughout America. And why is that? Because they're trendy, because everybody's talking about them, everybody's teaching them, okay? Here again, who else is teaching my model? That I know of, nobody. But, so why is it more scalable? Why is my model more scalable than those other models? Well, one is because I can make on one deal, okay, what they might take them 20 deals to make, 50 deals to make, I don't know, but my point is I can make a lot more on one deal than they can. 2 is what's so great about our business model and what I love about it so much. We outsource 90% of the work. Our civil engineers and whatnot, our geotech engineers, traffic engineers, whatever, they do 90% of the work. How is it that I can do deals all over the country and only have one office? Because we're not the ones that are boots on the ground actually doing all the work, right? We're not the ones in there connecting with the city however many times a week or a month, okay? Our consultants do all that. So that allows, when you're outsourcing most of the work, it makes your business model much more scalable. When you have the types of ROI that we do, return on investment, or ROE that we have, return on effort, there again, it makes the business model much more scalable. See, I'm not running on a hamster wheel or chasing my tail, okay, to have to do a tremendous amount of transactions or to need a bunch of people or have a bunch of management, okay? I'm not on that wheel. Therefore, it becomes more scalable. One more thing I want to address before we get into the actual model is, Cody, where do these opportunities exist to do your business model? Which, just briefly, is going and finding raw land that has development potential and taking it through the governmental approval process and then doing double closing, simultaneous closings. We'll get into more detail on that in a minute. But where do these opportunities exist? Well, I'll tell you this, they exist throughout the country, okay? I haven't come across a market yet where I can't execute my business model. Okay, so let's get into the specifics. Cody, what is this business model? Let's talk about it in detail. Okay, number 1, we specialize in off-market, off-market, off-market. We go and find off-market raw land, okay, that has development potential. development potential is very key. Actually, before I even talk about development potential, why do we focus so much on off-market? Because I don't want to sit around, wait for a property to be listed or for a broker to call me before I can go do a deal. Two, as I mentioned, the land has development potential, okay? Development potential is what creates these large paydays that you hear me talk about all the time. Because the development potential is what allows you to be in what's called the value add business. Take like house wholesaling. It's just something that everybody talks about and teaches and everybody does it seems like. But you know what the problem with wholesaling? More than likely, you don't bring value to the seller, okay? Because you gotta pick up their asset below market value, okay? And you definitely don't bring value to the asset. So if you're not increasing the value of the asset, don't ever expect large paydays. Don't ever expect large returns, large profits, high ROIs, ROEs. It's just not gonna happen. You've gotta be in a value add model. Okay, so now we talked about off market, we talked about development potential. So then what I do is I go and I get these properties under contract, okay? I get control of these properties. Another thing I want to tell you real quick is that I'm in the business of controlling real estate, not owning real estate. What you gotta understand is as soon as you take ownership of real estate, you lose most of your options. You lose most of your flexibilities. If the market does turn, can you get a price reduction? Can you get the terms of when you gotta close or earnest money or blah, blah, blah? Can you get the terms of that deal changed? No, you sure can. As soon as you take title to real estate, you lose most of your options, okay? So I get these properties under contract, I control them, and then I take them through what's called the governmental approval process, or call it the political process, a lot of people refer to it as entitlements, okay? And I get that land approved for development. Now remember, my consultants do 90% of that work. Remember, I don't close on the land until after I get the development approved. We use our buyer's money to pay the seller, and we make our profits out of the middle for the work we did. Whoever controls the dirt controls the deal. Remember that the land or the dirt is the foundation of all real estate out there, okay? So key on that. I don't have to do any construction. The real risk starts related to land development when you decide to put a shovel in the ground. When you decide to take on all the debt and put up all that capital to actually close the land with your own money. That's where the real risk starts. And so when you hear people talk about my business model and all the risks and all the capital, remember, this niche that I've carved out through trial and error and my long history in the industry, I've figured out a way to take the majority of that capital and risk out of this scenario and take all the debt out of the scenario. Well, Cody, I don't have any capital, so how do I even go and get it entitled? Let me tell you this. I have never not been able to find money earlier in my career if I had a great project. I'll give you a little sneak peek into something too. With our students or our graduates, they can also partner with me if they want to. Not required, it's totally up to them, but whether you go use friends and family money, your own money, whether you go bring in an investor, whether you bring my company in Allied Development, or we have some students that are having their buyer, their home builder actually cash flow the entitlements so that they can be the buyer when the project gets approved, okay? So don't let the little bit of capital that's required to do this process scare you away. All right, so if you want to learn more about my model, and by the way, I'm comfortable calling it my model, again, because I'm the only one that I know of teaching it, okay? Remember, I'm gonna say it one more time. I go find off-market raw land that has development potential. I take it through the entitlement process or the governmental approval process, and I exit to a home builder more than likely through what's called a double closing or simultaneous closing. I use their money to pay the seller and I make my profits out of the middle. And if need be, I can use my own money, I can use friends and family money, I can use investor money, I can use Allied Development as a capital partner, or I can use my buyer's money to do the whole entitlement process. That is my business model. So if you want to learn more about that business model, click the link. From there, you're gonna fill out an application and then you're gonna book a call, okay? And you're gonna do a one-on-one strategy session with someone on my team And we're gonna talk about your current situation. We're gonna talk about your goals and what your vision is, what's your mission, where are you trying to take your life? And at the end of the day, after that conversation, you combined with someone on my team, we're gonna be straight up with you that if we think this is a good fit for you and your situation and where you're wanting to go.